rise and shout, a loaded edition of What's Trending.
Pull, fire, score for three.
Richie Saunders, and he'll take it all the way in.
Here's Isaacs. Forget about it. 17-point comeback win for the Texas Tech Red Raiders.
Oh, it stings. What's Trending, sponsored by BYU Food to Go, the MVP of your next event. Today we're discussing potential solutions to BYU's second half struggles, specifically in the Big 12. 20th ranked BYU, if you missed it, squandering a 16-point halftime lead at number 25 Texas Tech. So the Cougars fall to 2-3 through 5 games in Big 12 play. And this, Austin, has been well documented, is not the first time BYU has lost a big second half lead, which brings us to an eye-opening stat of the day.
It's the BYU Sports Nation stat of the day.
How about this? BYU has had a 9+ point lead in the second half of all 5 Big 12 games. You've led by 9 or more in every single Big 12 game in the second half.
That's wild. Has this become their identity now? What do you think? Starting off slow, I mean, going into half on top of the world, 9 points minimum ahead versus, some great Big 12 competition. And then we come out the second half a little flat, right? Can't finish.
And you certainly can't do that on the road and allow a raucous road environment to get back into the game, which is exactly what happened against Texas Tech. And look, I've said it several times on this program. I feel like in college basketball, Austin, you have the greatest home court advantage, home venue advantage of any sport at the collegiate level. It is in men's basketball.
No question.
It's not close to me. Like, whatever the sport, soccer, not even football, right? You could feel it in football. You know that.
Yes, but basketball's different, dude. Basketball, like that energy and that environment and that momentum is like palpable.
Yes.
Everybody can feel it. And if you're not able to take advantage and create a spark, that momentum can quickly turn on its head, and all of a sudden now you're in quicksand. You're trying to fight an uphill battle. But it is like, the athletes, the players, they feed off that stuff, man. And when it's that thick in the air, that does have such a huge, or plays such a huge part in the game and the outcome.
I think that you using the quicksand metaphor is on point, because
thank you.
You're told when you're in quicksand to not make aggressive movements because it just goes faster, right? So that is the challenge for BYU, is to maintain composure, be methodical about your movements, be slow, be composed, but it just feels like there's desperation, right? It's hard not to feel desperate when those situations are compounding on you on the road.
Well, I mean, statistically, it's evident that that's what's happening, right? I mean, versus Texas Tech, right, we go from 4 to 8 turnovers from the first half to the second half. Our three-point shooting goes down from 50% in the first half to 16% in the second half, right? And then our field goal percentage goes from 55 down to 35. But that's all about, one, shot creation, right? Are we waiting until the last minute to get that shot off? I think we talked about this earlier, during, before the show, right? Like, BYU's not great at holding on to the ball and going down to the wire where the shot clock is, right? We want to get those shots up early, and the longer we wait, the less success that we have.
Yeah, you just mentioned some of these stark numbers. So BYU plus 16 in the first half, outscored by 23 in the second half, and that was largely spurred on by doubling the turnover number. And most of those turnovers also were live ball turnovers, resulting in easy layups, wide open threes for Texas Tech. Not all turnovers are created equal.
Right.
Live ball turnovers really, really hurt BYU on Saturday. 17 points off of those 8 BYU turnovers in the second half. BYU scored 2 points off of Texas Tech turnovers in the second half. And there's a plus 15 swinger. That's your ball game right there. And yeah, the 3-point shooting cooled off dramatically. But again, that's part of that desperate thing. Some of the shots not as high quality as BYU is getting in the first half, because you're scrambling. You're trying to do something to quiet the crowd, and so you get a little aggressive. You get a little too ambitious in the quality of shot and then wanting to rush it up. So it's tough. Playing on the road is so difficult in this conference. That is BYU's challenge moving forward, is how do we solve this when it's going to happen again, Austin?
Right.
Everybody's going to make a run, especially when you're on the road. What does BYU do to remedy this?
Well, listen, if I'm an opponent or an opponent's coach, I'm going, and we're down to BYU in the second half, I'm telling everybody, hey, grab a swig. We all know what's going to happen, right? Just keep that pedal to the metal. BYU's going to crumble, right? They're not going to have the same energy. We're going to rush them. We're going to pressure them, make them take ill-advised shots, which is where they're not, they don't have the most success, right? We're going to make them panic. But in my opinion, and I say this all the time with football, I said this all the time this last season with football, BYU needs a dog. Someone that's going to take the ball, a Jimmer Fredette, if you will, and is going to say, hey, I'm going to change the momentum of this game single-handedly by attacking the paint and getting a shot up, right? Creating opportunities.
Even if you don't make the shot, just free throws.
Right, just to get to the line, just to shut the energy down. But, like, if you don't have somebody like that and everybody's on the bench looking at one another to do or be that guy, it is never going to happen. And if I'm Mark Pope, I'm challenging him when I come in at halftime. Like, who's going to be my playmaker? Who's going to change the outcome of this game? Because someone's got to stand up and say, yo, pass me the rock. I'll be the one to get us out of this or make sure that we carry this momentum from the first half to the second.
Yeah, it was weird because BYU started the game red hot. Like, the numbers were almost exactly flipped from BYU to Texas Tech from the first half to the second half, because Texas Tech started the game shooting 2 for 13, and BYU was red hot, and they built that big lead early. And then in the second half, BYU started the second half 2 for 13.
Right.
And Texas Tech's making everything, and all of a sudden it's a 4-point game, and it's a 2-point game. And there's something to climbing the mountain, too. Like, Texas Tech was down by as many as 17, again, 16 at half. If you climb the mountain and then take the lead,
yeah,
you're probably not going to relinquish it, especially if you're on your home floor. So, like, BYU's challenge is, okay, we just have to maintain the lead. Even if it gets to 4 or gets to 3, just stay on top.
Right.
And they were not able to do that. And they haven't been able to do that in several occasions within Big 12 play specifically. I mean, you're talking about, like, over the course of the 5 games, let's look at these numbers. BYU's scoring margin in the first half of 5 Big 12 games is plus 35. Outstanding.
Right.
Minus 42 in the second half. Field goal percentage takes a downtick of 10% from the first half to the second half, 44% to 34%. Three-point shooting's down 5%. The turnovers have been pretty equal.
But it's the points off turnovers.
It's the points off turnovers. That's what those type of turnovers those are in the second half. Plus 16 in the second half in points off turnovers for the opponent. So, again, it's just the challenge is there. Like, BYU, they know they can play. They've got 2 wins.
Yeah.
They beat a really good Iowa State team in the one game that BYU finished strong in the second half. They blew Iowa State out of the water.
And listen, the last thing that you want to have happen is for this to become a thing. And what I mean by that is for it to become something that all the players in the locker room are cognizant of, right? And now you're getting the yips when you're on the green, right? Now it's in your head, and now you become a little bit too, psychoanalytic about how you're going to come out the second half, right?
Yes.
You want these guys, free-flowing, just playing in their natural ability. But I promise you, if they keep coming out and making this a thing, it's now going to be in the back of their mind. And that's going to be something, that's going to be a hurdle very hard to get over.
Don't be surprised if BYU again has a halftime lead, even against the likes of Houston. The Marriott Center is a special, special building. And the energy is going to be off the charts good tomorrow night when a top 5 team comes in. Top 5 team.
Yeah.
This is for the first time in BYU basketball history, BYU is going to play 3 ranked teams in a row with Iowa State, Texas Tech, and now a top 5 Houston in Provo, followed by unranked Texas, but still it's Texas on Saturday. Don't be surprised if BYU manages the halftime lead. How do they handle the success and the inevitable second half adjustments that Kelvin Sampson, who's an amazing coach, is going to make? And how do they channel the proper energy early in the second half? Like, you've experienced this, Austin. You've done this with your several football teams. What do you do?
I mean, whoever the rock leader is, maybe we bring them in, give them the whole halftime speech, right? Bring that energy, right? Maybe get Cosmo in there. I don't know. I think the players have got to, they got to look at themselves. And just like I said before, like, who's going to be that guy? Like, that's the difference between someone who's elite, like a Jimmer Fredette, right, and somebody who's just a good college basketball player. The guy that's going to take ownership of the team and say, no. In the tough situations or in the situations that we need someone to step up, I'm going to be that guy.
Yeah.
And hopefully Coach Pope goes in there and calls upon somebody like that, right? Like someone stand up and be the difference maker.
BYU is going to do something to mix it up early in the second half. It's just a matter of what it is and if it hopefully works for the Cougars. Are they going to come out with the zone look defensively and maybe press a little bit early in the second half?
You know what I do?
Something.
You know what I do?
What's that?
This just came to me. Genius.
Okay.
Okay?
Let's go.
Peyton Manning, when he injured his neck, we went through an entire game plan at Duke University. Okay? I'm talking when we took a timeout during the AFC Championship game, which is the year before. He wanted to get an idea of like how long he could sustain his arm after the injury, right? So we were all at Duke, and we went through that entire game plan from quarter to timeout to halftime. We'd come off during a timeout and sit on the sideline. 7 guys just sit on the sideline for the exact duration, okay, of what that timeline was the year prior. Then we go back on the field. So my idea, you have practice. Everyone take it in the locker room, right?
Okay.
Simulate the halftime experience, then come back out and practice again, right? I would do that every single practice and make sure that energy's ramped for the second half.
I love it.
Right?
I love it.
Let's go.
Let's go.
You're welcome.
All right, I'll fist bump that.
Give me some.
Yeah, that's good stuff.